Thought I missed something. I did not. In the bottom right of Golden Wall, it's the blue Protoss Geralt. In the bottom left, as the red Terran, it is Liquid Clem. Alright then. So a good old-fashioned PvT. I do anticipate Clem taking this 3-0 or even 3-1. Maybe. But I'm hoping that Geralt can show us some good PvT action. I think he's gotten close to brilliance with his PvTs and just not quite been able to get any victories off of it. Some really good decision making, but only after he's gotten 12 probes killed by a Widowmine. Some cool disruptor shots only after he's down 50 army supply. You know, that type of thing. One day he'll, you know, fix up everything leading up to the mid game, and he'll be quite the contender for a macro PvT. But Geralt has been, I think in his lifetime, a little bit on the cheesier side. Slowly improving on that macro. Definitely on the cheesier side. So we see this injured. It's still a very useful probe setting up for a proxy Stargates. He's got 150 gas now, but he's waiting. I think he wants to, I don't... Yeah, okay, there we go. Stargate does come down. Reaper's gonna get one probe. Ooh, okay, doesn't see much more else. So, it is difficult for a Terran player to be like, oh, the technology was already supposed to be slapped down. Like, that timing is very, very, very close. Technically, he could tell that something is up because there was no technology. And in his feeling, in his gut, he might be like, okay, usually I would have seen something by now, but maybe I'm just off, right? And I don't think he's worried about that third pylon. Just because it could be anywhere. It could be over here, it could be over there, it could be over there, like that type of stuff. So, yeah, Clem does not know about the proxy Stargate, and it is quite proxied. It is quite proxied. Where's that cat bed from? The hammock? It's like an Amazon Basics one, I think. Alright, so the Adept gets in. That's bad news for Clem. So this Adept sees exactly what Clem is doing, which is already really nice. Gets 2 SCVs, delays the barracks production, also really nice. And on top of that is also like giving a go-ahead to the Oracle to attack either into the main or the natural. In this case, the natural is wide open. The Oracle, though not being paid attention to, what is Geralt doing? He was actually microing the Adept. Funnily enough, he's... Oh, Clem, you serious right now? He saved an SCV in that bunker. Are you real? Alright, so Geralt really should have gotten more than 2 SCVs. I actually think he should have gotten 4 SCVs, because these would have died before they reached the bunker if he had immediately put Pulsar Beam on. So there's some troubling news there for Geralt, who otherwise got a very, very powerful opening unscouted. Does grab 2-3 more SCVs, but for the price of a second Oracle, so it's like, I guess, okay. And he's even going into a third Oracle, which I really don't think is helpful versus Terran, so I personally don't like this, but I'm interested to see what Geralt thinks he's going to do with it. Thing is, against Zerg, I feel like, you know, they scout, they control, they can sometimes even take on queens, and that's really cool. You don't expect an attack from a Zerg player, I feel like. And if you do, like, say, lings them across the map, then yes, 3 Oracles can help against the Ling Flood. Yes, 3 Oracles can help against Roach Ravager. I don't know what that chrono was for. That was weird looking. But versus Terran, I mean... Eventually these Oracles are going to have to, you know, combat an actual army, and they're not going to be able to, especially if one of them dies. Hello. So in total, we had 7 workers die. This would have been game over, by the way. This is Heart of the Swarm. I kid you not. Oracle's 2-shotting workers was devastating. But now this is not such a big deal. In fact, it's such not a big deal for Clem, despite seeing 3 Oracles. Well, now down to 2. He's not even going to bother putting investment into missile turrets. So anyways, back to my point. I'm worried that the investment of the Stargate plus the Oracles is going to mean that he doesn't have much of an army to combat Clem's eventual push. He's going to have quite a few bio units, Sim combat shields. He's not going to have +1. So I think there was a somewhat of a sacrifice on Clem's side to get what he wanted. The Cyclone maybe wasn't supposed to come into play. It actually even dies. The Raven maybe wasn't initially the plan, but then he moves on to it. I think it was, but just throwing it out there. Oh no. Oh jeez. Oh lordy. Blink isn't done, so that Raven was fine. But anywho, that's the only thing that's really missing. Otherwise, he's got a lot of powerful units, and those Oracles really aren't going to look very helpful, especially because they have no energy. So this is the test. This is what I was worried about, right? And the Oracles are going to die. The way I always look at Oracles and how pricey they can be, they're important, they're useful. I'm not hating on Oracles in general, but if you look at an Oracle as the price of a Robo, a price of a Twilight, a price of a Blink upgrade, you can see why I'm like, oh, like, is it really worth getting 3 of them? Like, oh my god. You know, Blink was done, still loses a couple of Stalkers. He's trying to drain the medevac energy, force more stims than usual. Apollo is helping me observe. But this is not the only thing that's going on. The Raven actually came from behind to go for a couple of auto turret kills, and oh my good god, he gets 12! Instantly making up for the Oracle damage from earlier. It looks like a Widowmine also helped a little bit on the front lines. It hurt it to go off. Maybe forced a Blink. Clem feeling confident, put his 3rd CC on location. Has more medevacs, has healed up his army that was being a little overstimmed, combating those Stalkers. Does lose a medevac, maybe 2, maybe 3. Not gonna go for the 3rd one. Probably the better call there. It's mostly Stalkers coming out from Geralt. He still hasn't taken care of the Raven either, so once again, auto turret coming in, gonna kill a couple of probes. They're currently at even workers, and then a Widowmine drop to the 3rd base. At least that's scouted, but also partially because there's no probes to pull. That's not a good sign. And there's one more Widowmine coming into the main base. Clem might not be able to bust through these Blink Stalkers, but his harassment is doing wonders here. The Stalkers actually might get hit by the Widowmine. Okay, it was... Yeah, okay. Whew. I was wondering if they're gonna be able to blink as fast as they needed to, and they did. So not too much more harassment there, but still, with Clem having his own 3rd CC done, turning into an orbital, having even workers, doesn't feel very good for the Protoss. Geralt's going to start depending on Storm. As it finishes up, he also needs to include some High Templars, 2 of them available with the energy for it, but 2 isn't actually that much. When you consider that Terran players universally at this point are making 2, if not 3, Marauders at a time. Raven to counter possible DT stuff? No. I mean, maybe, like, literally in the beginning of the game, Clem might have been like, Geralt's kind of cheesy, like, I need to get a Raven. I mean, I'll give you that much, but it definitely wasn't reaction. I think we'll also see people decide to use, to get Ravens or no, based off the map, and how much space is behind the mineral lines. So in this case, this is being very annoying with the Stargate taken out, because it was proxied, it died. No ability to even fit in a Phoenix here. Clem might have been very late to his upgrades, but Geralt wasn't that much faster, so we'll have even upgrades in about 30-40 seconds. Clem's gonna have a bigger army, though, and still actually even ahead on the workers, as Geralt was, okay, he actually never... Huh, okay. I thought he would have been able to saturate his 3rd with workers transferred, but he's not even saturated his 3rd. That doesn't look so hot. A little too focused on the micro in the front. Ghosts are available, and the High Templars are dragging behind. Good split there from Geralt. He's looking for the Storm. He's gonna find one! Pretty good one, and the second one also doing pretty well. The Stalkers body blocked the bio, but in turn died. I think that was the idea. I think that's what Geralt was thinking. I'll body block the bio, I'll get 3 storms on it, and they'll all die. Problem is, with Medevac's healing Marauders, specifically, even if all 3 storms were flippin' beautiful, the Stalkers also still would have died. There would have been a lot of deaths there. So maybe a trade that Geralt wasn't really looking for, considering his situation. He does get 11 SCVs on the 3rd base, which is not too shabby, but Clem scans the would-be 4th, sees nothing, and knows that he's still in a pretty damn good position. He's a little bit late to his armory, so maybe Geralt can manage a lead there, but another scan. Really trying to gather intel here. He is missing the gold-based scan, and he hasn't checked there in a little while, but I think he's assuming that wouldn't be taken by the Protoss player. Stasis traps are always a good idea. 2 of them. 1 pops 4 pretty expensive units. Pretty good units. 4th base is now in the way. I think he saw the Warp Prism. I think he saw the Warp Prism, and Vikings are very helpful against the Warp Prism High Templar micro. But it's also usually a good time to start preparing for Colossus. I think it's mostly just the Warp Prism right now. 3rd CC is still not protected, so 4 Zealots going around town to deal some sick damage. Also maybe distract Clem. Open up opportunities for the Storm. EMP is absolutely available, though. There are 5 ghosts there. They don't have the EMP Shockwave, but Terrans have made do in the past before that upgrade existed, so he's trying to make this attack work. Clem has a 20 army supply lead. Equal upgrades as well. He does find 2 Immortals, but has to back off before killing them, so they will add quite a punch. Zealots soak up most of the initial damage, but Clem still has a lot of army left over. Another EMP, but without that shockwave, it doesn't really encompass the Archons. They're still there to tank at least 1 full shot, and that's exactly what they do, leaving opportunities for the Stalkers and the Immortals to actually do their damage without fear of dying, and that was not a bad hold whatsoever there by Geralt. He still had 20 army supply deficit, but at least he protected his 3rd base. If only he had a 4th base on the way, then I'd feel very confident about his return to form, returning to this game. Right now, he's just depending on his robo units. We have 2 Disruptors popped out, and Colossus on the way. The question is, can Geralt actually get them in on the fights to start bringing the comeback? Geralt goes for this 4th base, which is a little bit funny. Clem immediately scouts it, though. Finally, we have the upgrade for the Ghosts on the way. 2-2 had started a while ago, so there'll be like a 20-second +2 upgrade for Geralt's. Doesn't really help the Disruptors, though. We're looking for some good shots. They find some okay ones. Unfortunately, one of them's going to lose their lives. The other one is barely saved by the Storms. Nicely done there by Geralt. All the splash damage kind of covering each other there. A very bold blink forward. Good split the last second. Oh, but the Widowmine from behind also getting some damage done. Popping the Immortal Shields as well. I think there's only 1 Storm right now. This is going to use itself on the Widowmines. And yeah, it gets 2. That's great. One of the Storms that I think he really shouldn't have used on a Widowmine just got used up. Steady shot on top of the High Templar, and now most of the forms of Splash are gone. Geralt's going to hold his position regardless. He's feeling confident. The size of the Terran army is just very small. To his credit, this actually is something he can absolutely hold. And Clem might be getting ahead of himself. I think the the Terrans like pupils get really wide, like a hunting cat when they see only Stalkers or majority Stalkers. They're like, yes, yes. But don't underestimate Stalkers, first of all. And then there's a little bit extra added in here. Upgrades are now in favor of Clem, though, so that's going to be a little concerning as time goes on. Looks like Geralt's finally found the resources to start up at least +2 armor, but certainly can't afford to double forge. He's got all 3 forms of Splash, though. Storm, Disruptors, Colossus, technically even the Archons. So this is an army perfect for comebacks, and he really has bridged the gap. In fact, he's now up in army supply. As I said, I think Clem was getting a little overeager. Thinking, okay, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I don't got this? Hold on here. So now he's going to try and do something different in this game. Many, many kudos to Geralt for holding on as long as he has, and now he has a 4th base to feel a little more confident. But keep in mind that 4th base was very late. He's pretty much done mining from his mana natural, and his mana is now under attack. Robotics base is going to be killed potentially. No, it's not going to be. The recall might just be able to save it. The Disruptor's looking for some good shots. Find at least 1 good one. Barely saved the Colossus, but 2 Vikings are actually going to take that down, and the Robotics base does fall before Extended Thermal Lance is done. That's actually pretty important. The blink forward is going to take down one of the very full medevacs. Another one goes down, and that is pretty good. The Vikings are also going to fall. At the end of the day, Clem down in army supply, ahead in upgrades, and did just take away that extra range for the 2 Colossus that are left over. Was that good enough? I would say no. I mean, I think Geralt, yeah, he just warped in the round of Stalkers or Zealots or whatever, and now he's got a 20 army supply lead. He's thinking, okay, I just took in a lot of bio. Let's go for the counterattack. Let's finally control this game, and I think he's definitely in the right to do so. That Warp Prism, though, is very, very low. Manages to drop some of the units, but not all of them. That was maybe the biggest mistake there, was having a very low Warp Prism. carrying around High Templars. There's no other disruptors either, and robotics may need to be replaced before disruptors can be available. The ghost was interrupted. That was nice. There's a reason you don't see steady shot very much against High Templars. Not like the good old days where snipe was available. No, it's called steady shot now, guys. And it means that they can't be touched while they attack. So, good save on the High Templar. A bunch of harassment to the north side is going to kill some SCVs and also distract Clem. Clem trying to micro at the same time. Does try and take out a Colossus, but instead loses his Vikings for the most part. But he's going to hold on, go back to his fourth base. It is a planetary, so a pretty good spot to fall back to if he needs. I thought I saw an extra command center, but I guess what I was seeing was the extra barracks, so... Actually, Clem is starting to get me worried on the... Yeah, on the income side of things. I mean, Geralt's not doing a whole lot better income-wise, but I think if we check the resources lost, a little bit in favor of Geralt. And he also has a few more workers. He's been harassing Clem a lot more, so we can check the income graph. Oh, at one point it was, yeah, very severely in Geralt's favor. This might just be it. Clem's down 20 army supply. He still has an upgrade lead, about to have a second upgrade lead, and he's also working on his Viking upgrades. But these Zealots scout a main base orbital command going to the north side, and Geralt is going to continue pressing into that trigger point of Clem. Like, that should never reliably mine. And Geralt's also adding on those disruptors. Now there's a robotic space finally done. He's moving in with the Colossus, the Archons. The Storms are a little late to the party, but where the Ghosts to try and take them out completely. There may be... Oh, he's going to be so careful. Storms on the bottom and top side. Good dodges there from Clem. He's coming in for a big old concave. Geralt has to be very careful. Does he actually want to take this fight? He does. Storm's coming down from the High Templars in the War Prism. The EMPs, they actually cast any EMPs? It feels like he hasn't, but the concave might be too good. There's one EMP. The Vikings are also not being taken down, so they're on top of those Colossus, killing them. The Immortals getting taken down as well. The concave was just too good for Clem, and Geralt might have made a mistake. He loses every last unit. But he does have 17 more workers. He has a fifth base on the way. And he has disruptors that he can maybe fall back on to save the day if Clem's counterattack is too good. That was pretty sick. Clem might just be able to do it despite the deficits. He now has a 30 army supply lead. Good focus fire on the Ghost. Barely doesn't grab it. Disruptors not helping as much as they should. And now they're alone. They're all alone. The High Templars, they got two Storms. They're going to go for it, but they're not going to kill very many units. A couple Medivacs actually going down to the Storms, funnily enough. Disruptor from the south gets a couple of Marauders, but it's really up to the Stalkers and the Zealots here, and they are going to be able to pick off these Marauders as low health as they are. Not to mention the Medivacs, 3 of them very, very low, but the Stalkers not able to get on top. Zealots trying to retreat. Some of them will be able to. This is a close PvT, my god. And if these Stalkers can actually attack some of these Medivacs, Clem is definitely not rolling in the dough, but it looks like since Geralt lost his army, he hasn't really been able to afford any Zealots to harass this base, so it has been muling. And this entire time, Clem has had those 2 upgrade leads. I'm sure that has affected some of these battles. Vike is taken out by the Stalkers. Concave's good for Geralt on top of the ramp. EMP's trying to find the Archons. Don't. They're out of energy. They're being feedbacked. Fedbacked? Whatever. And Geralt always having one more type of splash than what Clem is prepared to deal with is really helping him here. It really is. Whenever there's a couple of Vikings, well, there's Storm to help out. Whenever there's too many Ghosts, well, there's Colossus to help out. Oh my god, are you kidding me? These Medivacs are so low! Oh my god, the Zealot scouts it as well! No, he's not gonna go for it. He unloads. Oh god. Oh jeez. Oh my god. Don't do that. Don't do that. Scan reveals a very lonesome Colossus, but not gonna jump on top of it. Clem looks to be going for a big ol' surround. Zealots on his top left base is going to completely deny mining, but at least it gave him the means to get another base. This one probably going to be turning into a planetary. Geralt's looking for a better positioning. He's going to find the armies. Clem paying attention. Disruptors not going to shoot fast enough. Clem is able to respond. 7 SCVs go down, but Clem's army is responding okay a little bit. Accidentally attacking the refinery. Oh my god, that scan just revealed nothing. The army's on the top side. Clem is moving in, and I don't think he's going to be anticipating the army from the back. This is going to get really awkward really fast. The Disruptor is picked off, though. And this might turn out okay. Alright, he sees where they are now. I'm worried about the Colossus count. 4 Colossus. I mean, Clem's getting some really great concaves, but 4 Colossus with no Vikings to take him down. I think Clem's realized that the air support here is what's going to kill him, probably. He doesn't have Medivacs to heal. And despite getting some good concaves, like, eventually there's going to be too much splash and not enough healing. He's trying to build the Vikings, but he also needs to build the Medivacs. He never got to a second starport. He's now floating his... actually, he can turn this into an orbital. Funnily enough. I think he should. Actually, his problem is in gas, mostly. Gas and not having a second starport. If at any point he invested into a second starport, I think he's looking a lot better right now. He's gonna go in with the concave. It's not... that's a lot of splash coming down. Like, I don't think he can actually take these fights. But Geralt is kind of prodding him here. That disruptor shot's gonna be good to start things off. One Colossus might fall, but look at the rest of the Protoss army. Clem's also losing SCVs to the top left, and I think this might just be it. Clem is going to hold on as long as possible, but it is not looking very good. 3 Colossus still bullying him back as the Viking count is so low. More reinforcements coming through here. Again with that concave. Can he make the miraculous hold like he did just 5 minutes ago? I don't think so. There's just too much here from Geralt. And he's taken down Clem's economy. What an explosive game number 1. Oh, the 6th save! The save of the Colossus, at least for a second more. At this point, it's just being kind of fancy, to be honest. But it still looks cool. Geralt has 2 full mining bases. Clem has not even gotten this base up to mining. He just doesn't want to give up yet. But he has to. It's over. It's game. Geralt's got 30 more workers. He's got double the army supply, and he's starting to pick off every last reinforcement from Clem. All that needs to happen now, I guess, is for Geralt to get on top of the production. And that's when Clem will finally tap out. Oh, it's game number 1, and Clem does not want to give up. Ooh. Ooh. I can only wonder what's going through his head at this point. GG. It's like, what the hell? You were on 3 bases for so long. This is stupid. I don't think Clem was, I don't think he appreciated what happened in that game. You know what I mean? Exciting. There's 2 starports, I think. To be fair, I never checked. But what I constantly saw was 2 units being produced. 2 Vikings, 2 Medivacs. Either or. Apparently Clem needs 5 minutes. Calm down. Reset his brain. Only Brood War Zerg can win 80 supply down. True. Is it true or is it true? I hope you guys like my cat. Cats. Hey, Apollo. You're not Apollo, you're Ziggy. Don't you know your name? Don't you know? The little nose scratchies. The little nose. Alrighty-roo. In the top right of Everdream, he's up 1. It is Geralt.
Resubscription received. Apparently you are doing something right, Captain.
In the bottom left is the Red Terran. He is Liquid Clem. Thank you very much, Nervoth, for the 10-month resub. Clem was putting the keycaps back into the keyboard that just went airborne. I actually don't know too much about Clem's opinions on the matchups. You definitely get a feeling that while humorous and lighthearted, many Terrans, especially, still do not appreciate TVP. They've redirected their memes to TVZ occasionally. I haven't really seen Clem be involved in too many memes. Too many replies, too many mentions. So I don't know if he's like many other Terrans, kind of, you know, willing to make fun of the TVP matchup, or not. But if he was a little tilted by that last game, for whatever reason, it's actually very good of him to say, I need 5 minutes. That's not just good for being a pro gamer and being able to reset your brain and get back into the series. It's also good for just being a human, okay? I am, like, 12 years older than Clem. Oh my god, that makes me sad. Anyways, I'm like 12 years older than Clem, and I'm not very good at being like, okay, yeah, seriously, I just need, like, 1 minute, guys. Like, I can't do that. So respect. But also, big respect to Geralt, man. He was definitely down in that game. He was not looking so hot. Didn't have a 4th base, didn't have enough probes, didn't have upgrades, and still managed to pull it back. I mean, impressive stuff. Good decision making, good posturing. For the most part, there was maybe like one bad where I was like, ooh, I don't know about this, Geralt. Yeah, Geralt. But, otherwise, it was pretty good. It was exactly the type of game that I imagined in my head, though. I just thought that Clem was still going to end up winning it, right? I was like, okay, Geralt's behind. Geralt's going to make some really good moves. He's going to make us hype, and then he's going to lose. That's been a lot of his PvTs. But something is improving here. Something's being fixed. And he actually takes the victory. I guess there's some people who could certainly argue that it was more on Clem committing when he shouldn't have.
Thank you for peace.
And maybe he even thinks the same. You know, obviously there's people who are going to be like, wow, Protoss is pretty cool. That's really funny. All right then. Okay, cool. Super cool. And then there's people who are like, oh, I was so dumb. Like, oh my god. Oh, Jesus. And he might have been that. He might have been. When he was posturing in the middle of the map with like 20 units, not even like 15 units, I think that's the exact time where he should have just pulled back. So, I can see that again. Thank you, Utopian239, for the 5-month resub. So what do we have? The Reaper was supposed to die. Geralt realized it's not dying. It's gonna be obnoxious. It didn't see anything researching when it first swooped in. Then it saw something researching. I don't know if Clem is able to look into that. But, and a guy in Twitch said this, I do think that Geralt has a reputation for being cheesy. I said that about the Proxy Stargate. Now we see a Dark Shrine. I think it makes the most sense for a Terran player who thinks that in general they're better, and in general their opponent's a little bit cheesy, to go for a Raven opener. Raven openers are pretty flexible. They're good against most compositions, better against the robos than they are against the mass gateway stuff, but they're also good at harassment, better on some maps than others. Evergreen may be one of the worst maps, just because there's not a lot of space back here, but anyways. But most importantly, they're going to save you from any stupid Dark Shrine shit, which is exactly what Geralt is doing. It's so stupid, it works. But seriously, like, it's frustrating to lose to. Especially because the Dark Shrine players are getting a little more adept at waiting an extra 5 or 10 seconds. They know that the Terrans know when Dark Templar usually show up. So it can be very frustrating, but Clem, he doesn't need to hold on his hands because he has a Raven. One DT immediately runs into it, the other one was far enough back to run away, and there you have it. So now Clem knows it was a Dark Shrine, if he wasn't already a little bit suspicious. He sees the third Nexus with his Helling, which is also pretty good scouting. And the one thing I think he would really love to know for absolute sure is that it is going into Blink and not into some like weird fast Colossus thing. To go from Twilight Council, Dark Shrine, third Nexus to also be adding on a Robo and a Robotics bait is actually flipping crazy. But still, you want to be 100% sure about it, right? Clem's not technically, but I think he's correct. His correct instinct is that it will be Blink. And it will eventually be Charge. In this case, Geralt did go for Blink first. Makes a lot of sense, makes the most sense. But he is going to add a Robotics Bay. So not a whole lot of Gateway units. Pretty quickly into investment of like big, bulky, but singular units. And that might open up an opportunity for Clem's actual push. Geralt might have difficulty holding multiple locations. That's the difficult part about adding on those Colossus or Disruptors. Stalkers are going to try their best to buy time to scout where the attack is coming. And so far doing a good job of that. Auto-turret did come in, but didn't kill very many probes at all. Geralt needs to start adding in, well, basically he needs to get on top of the Colossus production. I think Clem knows that this is going to be a weak point, whether it's going into Colossus or Charge, so there's not going to be a lot of units. He really wants to take advantage of that, and Geralt is trying desperately to buy time. So far doing a fantastic job. On the left side, he is losing some Stalkers, however, they got very, very low after blinking away, and they blinked into some reinforcements. So a lot of Stalkers lose their lives on the left side, but at least he's getting some SCV damage on. The DT came back in when there's no reinforcements. 10 SCVs were killed. On the right side, the Stalkers live with their whole damage, their whole health still intact. Did they do enough damage here? It's not a Colossus, it's a single Disruptor. Is that going to be enough? It's not going to get anything whatsoever, but the aggressive blink forward to take care of the tank is good. And the rest of the bio is very, very weak from the earlier stims. Medevac's also going down. They at least are going to trade with the Stalkers with their upgrade lead. Ooh, trading better. I think Geralt was really hoping they would even take out that Disruptor. Oh my god, actually, this is... Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay. I can't... The fact that that lasted as long as it did is actually quite painful for Geralt. Raven even comes back in and delaying more mining. So, I actually was going to give Geralt a lot of credit for how he handled that. I think the aggressive blink forward onto the tank was the better move. There's no way this small group of bio was going to be able to target down the Nexus. If they did, it wouldn't be a worth it type thing. Maybe they get the probes, but the probes had been pulled. I thought Geralt was actually going to clean that up really, really well. But the fact that 4 Marauders and a Medevac stayed for an extra 10 seconds was actually pretty huge. That cost like 6 more Stalkers' lives plus the Disruptor. That was big. And now I think Geralt ultimately does come out behind. He's once again on the struggles here to actually hold. He's even up the upgrades, but he is still relying mostly on Disruptors anyway. He's trying to get to a couple of cannons to help out, but they're not going to finish neither that shield battery. No shield overcharge for you. And with the Widow Mines, oh geez, last minute split. With the Widow Mines guarding against the army. Oh, actually, you know what? Nope, hold on. Geralt is gonna barely go to defend, force the pick up rather, after picking off so many units. There we go. That was... These fights around the third are not going the way I anticipate them to. Geralt able to dodge the Widow Minefield with just enough Stalkers to take down the, again, injured small number of bio units. Barely saves his Nexus. Keeps some of his Stalkers alive. And has at least one Disruptor to fall back on. I mean, it's a very injured Nexus. I think Clem is like, why don't you just die? I think eventually Clem will force the death of Geralt here, but Geralt is not willing to give up, man. Clem is stomping on his fingers as he hangs off the side of the building, and Geralt just has 20 fingers. Two drops on the main base. Oh, double Liberator. Either way, actually, whether it was a drop or a Liberator, this is something that Geralt really is going to have difficulties defending. He actually really can't. He just has to pull his probes. Already 9 probes go down, though. 10 probes go down, and so much lost mining time. Shield Overcharge is going to save one of those Disruptors. But 2 Disruptors, and that's really all he's got. And this time they're not going to be saved. Both Disruptors taken out, and down to nothing but Stalkers and Zealots. And the Liberators are still denying all of the mining of Geralt, so he can barely reinforce. Meanwhile, Clem is comfortable in around 60 SCDs, 3 bases, continuing to add on upgrades. He's about to have an upgrade lead in just a second here. Down to last 2 Marauders, he is going to retreat, at least for now, but he has so many more reinforcements coming through here. 4th CC being built as well. Liberators were finally cleaned up, but the Raven never was, so back in, delaying the mining. We'll see a lot of spikes in Clem's favor because of that. Unlike last game, I think Clem is going to be able to actually shut this one out. He is going to be able to force... Well, I mean, game 3 was already happening, I suppose. But he's going to be able to force Geralt out of this game. I think the last game had a lot to do with a couple of run-bys that ended up buying some time, buying some distraction, as well as a lot of the fights were happening in the middle of the map, giving time for Geralt to reinforce and rebuild some of the more slow-building units. This time, all of the fights are happening on his side of the map, and he's constantly losing those expensive, slow-to-build robo units. Last Disruptor goes down, and with that, I think chances of Geralt winning this game. The Raiders might not contribute too much, but contribute enough. Geralt, please. You're supposed to be dead. Thank you, NXT Timer, for the 10-month resub. Thanks for the great casting. Thanks for the great supporting. Two is now on the way, but Geralt's like, I'm not relying on upgrades. I have given up on upgrades. It's all Disruptors from here on out. How many Disruptors has he lost? 7 Disruptors in this game have gone down, and I think 5 of them have gotten 1 shot. I swear, I think 2 of them actually just never got a shot at all. This one also doesn't do very much. The Raiders are going to add a lot of complications. 2 of them are going to get a couple of shots with the Stalkers and kill 1 of them, but just 1. The Disruptor was also taken out in the fight. 2 more coming from the left side. Clem is on top of it. He's actually going to try and kill them. No, he goes for the last-minute split and does take out both at the end. But are there enough Stalkers left over to clean this up? Once again, 4 Medivacs getting low on that energy. So the Marauder is also getting low on health, are forced to retreat from the Stalkers. A DT tries to help out. It's like, I'm helping. And it's like, no, not really. DT is probably better off trying to hit this 4th base, which is not quite a planetary, not quite with a missile turret. Once again, the Raven comes in, and Geralt just cannot catch a break. You know what I'd really love from Geralt? I would love for him to take a hidden base. If his Gateway and his Dark Shrine haven't been taken out, what are the chances that Clem actually goes all the way down south to take care of it? I actually think that would have been the better call than making the 4th in its typical location, but obviously a risk, because what if this happens and then he just actually moves slightly to the south? I understand, but I think it would have been a cool idea. DTs come in, but at a time when the planetary is almost done and detection is available. Auto turret in the main base once again. I mean, they're both trading blow for blow on the worker count. So far, the Disruptor's not getting anything beautiful hit-wise. They're just trying to get... Okay, well, this is it. This is it, right? This is it. This is finally it. Yes, it is. Okay. Whew. I was like, no way. No way the last game happens in this game. It's too different. GG. Trizex, thank you for the 11-month resub. When did Take TV change their name? Now it shows up as One Take on Team Liquid. Series is now all tied up in the bottom left of Eternal Empire. It is the blue Protoss Geralt. In the top right as the red Terran, he is Clem. In that game, his pressure was good enough to not let Geralt back into the series. Might have been a map difference. Everdream also on the shorter end. Actually, I think Golden Wall is shorter. What I learned is that the map rush distances are in alphabetical order. So Everdream with E and Golden Wall with G. They might actually have the same. They might be one of the ones that have the same rush distance. I'm not sure. Rush distance is not really a true determining factor of the size of a map, though. There is literally the size, which is like left to right, up and down. How many bases are available. You know, there's that type of size. And there's also, like, for instance, sure, rush distance, which is natural to natural, by the way, is a way to determine the parts of the early game that are important to determine. It doesn't really determine anything past 6 or 7 minutes, right? Because we're usually talking about third bases and Legacy of the Void. So I think what the real difference was that Clem's third base on Everdream could defend and attack to Geralt's third base on Everdream. Whereas for Golden Wall, Clem attacking from his natural to Geralt's third was, like, much longer. I feel like that did contribute to each game's outcome. Geralt had a little more breathing room in that first game. Could take some of the fights farther away from his base. He also didn't take as much harassment, true, and he didn't fail his Dark Shrine opener. I'd say the Oracles didn't do a whole lot, but they were probably better than the Dark Templars were. But yeah. Probe is taken care of. Geralt is going into another Stargate, but this time not proxied. Let's see if he goes into 3 Oracles or not. Doesn't do very much, so it really shouldn't be joined up with the buddy. Can be seen to the main. Just a 1-1-1 setup. Most professional Terrans are adding on that Hellion. And then into Widow Mines or Raven, which is what he was doing last couple of games. So Clem is mixing it up a little bit by actually going for Widowmine drops. Reaper Hellion combination. Oh, so that's actually the third Hellion. Okay. So no, that's not gonna be Widowmine drops. It's gonna be just a Hellion drop. Okay, that changes things up a little bit, because Widowmine's also not gonna be available to put in the mineral lines. Clem is gonna have enough Marines to technically push back an Oracle, but they're not in location. And this, I think, was just a big old surprise to him. The Oracle is going to see exactly what Clem's plan was, as well as get 3 SCVs, as well as get out. So that's a little concerning. Doesn't quite get the 5th SCV, but that was a nice scout. This is a good start for Geralt. He's got a 6-worker lead. He's got a wall at the front. And while the medevac can still drop in the main base, Clem should know the ability to make Phoenix is there. And he just sees that Phoenix are actually being made. This is a fantastic start for Geralt, as Clem's entire opener here has been shut down while he was not anticipating Geralt's opener. Very good start for Geralt. Ooh, this Oracle might just die. Nah, it's fine. Phoenix are on the hunts. I think we can assume, and Clem can assume, that we're going to have a robotics bay added on after this. Oh, that lock-on looks pretty good to me. It's going to go down. That's finally a return there. Clem has just continued building off of his 1-1-1, so that is delaying his extra 2 barracks, which in turn delays his stim, which also delays his 3rd CC. I think he is going to do a push. He is looking to do some damage while getting his 3rd CC on location, and then eventually adding on the 2 barracks. But this all production-wise looks like a push to me, and there's the push. Robotics Bay is coming down, but the whole point is that you're trying to catch someone getting a 3rd Nexus and going up to Colossus without getting very many other units. Is Clem actually finding that moment? Shield battery's done. Nexus may be able to do an overcharge. An Immortal was pumped out, so no extreme greed here from Geralt. But did Geralt take out enough units to this Phoenix? Could be close, could be scary. Oracle in the main is, well, there's nothing a tank can do about that, can it? It's got to wait for the Vikings, so this seems... I don't know, man. Geralt's actually just doing really well. The tank was in the medevac, so it's going to try and get a position here. But this position, I mean, what does it realistically do? It just takes down some gateways, yet Geralt's actually going to take the fight. He lifts the tank with the Phoenix. The tank doesn't get destroyed very quickly, so it's going to get quite a few shots of its own, and I don't think that was worth it there. I think Geralt holds, but he does lose all of his Phoenix. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Another Stalker goes down. Some last-minute target firing. The Oracle didn't actually get as many kills as I thought. Looks like the Viking cleaned it up as pretty well. So there's only a Furker? Holy shit. There's a 4-worker difference. Oh, now a 6-worker difference, but yeah. Jeez. Check the resources lost. Let's try and get an accurate summary of the game right now. Oh, Geralt supply blocked. Oh, that's actually so painful. Oh, I would actually cancel the Oracle and exchange for probes. Ew. Wait. Yeah. Okay, yeah, his Oracle died. Okay, yeah, anyways. I just had a dirt moment. Okay, so a little bit of supply block. Loses what could have been further ahead in supply, in economy, rather. An Oracle is important to get. I think he should get another one. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but I'm wondering if that maybe would have been worth 3 probes. Doesn't matter. Well, 2 probes, I guess, actually. Yeah, in that case, I guess not so much. It doesn't matter. Oracle's out, going to be providing the revelation. Besides the resources lost, which is pretty darn even, we have to check out their pacing, right? So Clem gets his 3rd on location, which is great. That happened. That's been good for a while. Wow, it's gonna get 5 SCVs. My god. It's Oracle, though. These Oracles, I should say. Oh my god. This is like a Heart of the Swarm Oracle. Oh no. 8 SCVs go down. That is brilliant. I take back anything I ever said about that Oracle not being built. That Oracle is MVP. Alright, so almost a 10 worker difference now. But I was gonna go into is that Clem was pretty darn late to his stim and combat shields to do that push that he did. Where Geralt at least was waiting to build his robo unit. He had the robotics bay, he was waiting to build the Colossus. And he's already gotten his upgrades as well. So it's gonna be even on upgrades as Clem does go for double engineering bay. That's not so much of a concern. But Clem doesn't have a lot of follow-up to that. Not for a while anyways. Finally, stim is done. Combat shields as well, so he is going to push here. But there is that gap where Geralt could get another Oracle. He could get saturation on his 3 bases, and he could pump out 2, maybe even 3 Colossus before the fight actually happens. I'm not sure he should take this fight. 3rd Colossus on the way. I would hope that he could wait for that one. Yeah, he actually can. He can, yeah, it's fine. So he doesn't take the fight, he just postures, which is a good call. We did go for charge first, which is really going to help against these tanks. The tanks are focused back on top of the Colossus, but they just don't kill Colossus very fast. And this is a complete cleanup. Geralt just needed another round of reinforcements, and he is good to push that back. Nicely done. Geralt going to control his 4th base, get a 3rd Colossus out, work on +2 and Blink, and also get a Warp Prism with some Templar Archives. Geralt in a pretty good position, but Clem does have at least his economy back up. He replaced those workers that he lost. 4th CC is on the way. And his scan, I think he's looking for like how saturated that base is, or if the army is still there. That was probably what it was. If the army isn't still at the 4th base, it means it's out on the map. And this Marine just saw that with the Selnaga before going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. So Clem knows to posture defensively. He got a 2nd starport, so he's producing 4 Vikings eventually at a time, as well as 3 Ghosts. I think he's good on the composition. And he's good on the armor supply in general, so I don't think Geralt's going to find many opportunities, but I do like posturing. I like the idea of posturing. It's definitely a little bit of a bluff, not just because he doesn't have a Warp Prism, but also because he doesn't have Blink. So Clem almost looking like to call his bluff was actually getting quite aggressive, but either way, Geralt moving in to Clem or vice versa. This is just a difficult location to actually break. Warp Prism is recalled. I'm not sure from where. Didn't catch what was happening with that one. Fourth base now down for Clem. 10 worker difference, but Clem has mules. He's gonna stop using as many mules, though. Knowing the army positioning is pretty darn important. Scans are pretty good in these upcoming battles. 2-2-1 is on the way. Geralt still only on a single forage. Is going to fall behind on those upgrades. For sure. Clem has 9 Vikings to 3 Colossus. I think 12 Vikings would be a bit better, but we'll see. It's all about positioning. Disruptor's not going to do anything to start the battle off, and Clem's going to feel pretty confident about diving on top of this 5th base, as well he should. Geralt's going to be forced to cancel that. I think it's an easy cancel, though. I don't think it's really necessary to have a 5th base right now. Planetary is unfortunately done, so the Zealots move on to the 3rd base. There's some reinforcements and the SCV pool. Who is it distracting more, I guess, is the question. So far, both players paying attention to their army. The Vikings are circling around for the Colossus. They really don't find them, though. Hit by storms, hit by Blink Stalkers. They are not helping against the Colossus whatsoever. Finally, one does go down, but after dealing lots of damage to the Bio Army. This was a messy battle for both sides, but the Concave ends up better for Clem. The Disruptor's going to try and get that last hit. Gets a pretty good one. And the Vikings, despite that weird back and forth you were doing, do end up surviving to retreat with a Medivacs. But, oh, that was a weird one. I think Clem was more focused on getting that concave going and EMPs than he was about the Vikings. So the Vikings looked quite awkward. But there was a lot of open space. So the Colossus attacks weren't as effective as they could have been. At the end of the battle, we still have Geralt in an economic lead as he double expands. Ooh, that's... wow, okay, yeah. He's got a bottom right, he's got the middle right, and looks like Clem did just scout that. I don't think he wants to let him get away with it. Clem finally has the upgrade lead. I don't think that was the case for that battle. I think it just recently finished. Disruptor from the backside will look for a really juicy shot. I don't think it's going to find one. Oh my god, that was playing with fire. Oh, Jesus. EMP misses most of the Zealots and also isn't available for the High Templars. So Clem cannot push in any further. He's moving on to Liberators right now. Oh, that's something that Geralt really hasn't had to deal with. The first game was so scrappy that Clem was barely reinforcing Medivacs and Vikings, much less getting into Liberators. The second game was so over that there was no need to really like go into quadruple Liberator production. This game, we're finally seeing what happens when Liberators take charge. Protoss players have gotten a lot better at dealing with Liberators without having to go, oh, okay, I guess I go into Tempests. You know, it's not as lazy as that anymore. We'll see if Geralt is good with it, though. If he actually starts to use left and right parts of the map. If he starts abandoning bases in exchange, just get a base over to the left so he doesn't have to sacrifice his army. Those are usually things it comes down to, especially if the Terran player starts expanding with the attack. So we actually see more so nowadays a Terran player take a planetary here and then also push the Liberators. And then their left side becomes some of their weaker points. But in this case, Clem actually isn't expanding with his attack. Which means that he's maybe not getting this, like, the same opportunity to get, like, a really baller economy. It's still, nonetheless, pushed the pressure on Geralt to deal with this. Without the safety of falling back to a planetary should things go to shit. EMP on top of the army, but also on top of the shield battery is a very good idea. Armies coming from left and right. Geralt trying to try and take this fight on as well as he possibly can, and it's pretty damn good. The full-on concave from Geralt's better than what Clem had set up. And even as Clem tries to Suddercept, tries to get some EMPs, he's actually going to be found by a bunch of Zealots that were going to go for harassment. They're going for the complete surround. He blinks on top of the army to make sure that every last unit dies. And that time it worked out brilliantly. This could actually be GG moves, man. Sixth base is canceled. Planetary's going to try and hold, and there's a Liberator holding that Planetary. Disruptor's going to be getting a... Nope, not a good shot. Just kidding. It's sniped. Storm's not hitting very much at all, and it looks like Clem will be able to hold. But oof, that was scary. That was a pretty big supply lead for Geralt. A little bit less now, and I guess we should always be considering Geralt having more workers. So the supplies aren't quite reflective of the situation. Geralt is happily mining off of many, many bases with 91 workers. I think he should stop building workers now. One thing he still hasn't really caught up on is upgrades. You know, but even then, it's like, they're still good enough. He's working on 3-2-1. Whereas Clem is trying to finish up 3-3-2. Those +2 Liberators are also going to really help against the Mass Stalkers, but it's not done yet. Liberator count's on high enough. Planetary does go down, but maybe now Clem can jump on top of the army. Geralt not prepared to deal with the army. He's also going for harassment in the main base. The army looks like it's going to fall. It's not a very strong army, just mostly Stalkers and Colossus. But how much can the harassment do? I don't think it's doing as much as Clem is by taking down this army. I don't think so. It's getting on top of some leftover SCVs. It's getting on top of some supply depots. Clem just needs to reposition his units to take care of it. But Geralt just he lost a very expensive Stalkers. He had a large number of them. Now they've been halved or more. He lost all of his Colossus and all of his Disruptors. It was a more painful trade there for Geralt. I guess a little overconfident taking on the Planetary like that. I mean, he did kill it. It just cost him a lot of his fodder. One of those Zealots. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, there's so many BTs, oh my god, that's not gonna be seen. Disruptors from the left are not gonna find too many juicy shots. Clem's been very good so far about dodging the Disruptor shots, but what Geralt's been good about is using the Disruptor shots to usually add to another portion of the fight, you know, like he makes the army move away so they're not attacking. He makes the army move away so that Blink Stalkers can focus fire down some Marauders. But no amazing Disruptor shots so far. DTs do get into the Natural and main base. Main base taken care of fairly quickly, and Natural did not have many SCVs to even kill. At the end of the day, it's a loss of something like 7 or 8 DTs for 7 SCVs. Not really the trade Geralt was hoping for. Didn't take too long for Clem to clean that up either, so he's already back on the forefront looking for a fight. Vikings find Colossus, is going to kill one instantly. Okay, goodbye Kona. This Colossus is also going to go down. The Disruptors are not here. Does he have any more to fall back to? It doesn't look like it. He just reinforced. A lot of his units are up to the top left, trying to go for a big old bust. Oh, the Disruptors. Oh no, I don't think I was. That's not on purpose, is it? Oh my god, the Disruptor's not here to try and save the day. This base could go down. Maybe it's worth it that the DTs kill a planetary. With Blink, they absolutely can. And there we go. Shadow Stride jumping on top of the planetary, even with the last second repair. Definitely not good enough. Planetary goes down, but 13 probes also fall, and Geralt's army is looking a little bit weak. 2 Disruptors, 11 Stalkers, and otherwise mostly just the Gateway units. The DTs being partially cleaned up but still alive could try and come to help out with the main fights. It's not over yet. The Disruptor's to the backside! Oh my god, that one Disruptor! That's what he was looking for! Oh, I had lost track of them. Oh, I didn't even realize they'd come back home. Amazing stuff here from Geralt as he takes down all the Vikings as well, and Clem says, well, shit, I guess I can't take this as a planetary. Well, shit. Oh, that was the shot that Geralt's been looking for this entire game. He's been pretty good about having Disruptors coming in from different angles than what Clem would be anticipating. It's backfired on him a decent amount of times where they just get picked off because they're left alone. But in that case, that worked out really, really well. And Geralt's going to replace his 6th or 5th, whatever you want to call it, as well as add on another base. Now, this is really tricky. I actually don't know if I'd like Geralt adding this base, knowing that Liberator production could still be back in full swing. I think he's going to have to once again cancel it, but he is applying the pressure to the left side. This is an orbital. Liberator does help out, and it can lift, so it doesn't die, but SCVs are going to go down. This is also an orbital, so again, SCVs are going to go down. Clem a bit desperately trying to push into this army. There's only 1 Disruptor. Oh, it's actually 2, my bad, but 1, 2. Not getting any good shots. This 3rd one doesn't ever shoot, I don't think. But this seems like too much Protoss army. Geralt really playing some fantastic PvT. Hold on here, hold on actually. He runs out of the buffer. The Colossus forced to retreat against the Marauders being healed by a bunch of medevacs. And suddenly the army supplies look so bad for Clem, but his economy is down in the dumps. He might have 4 orbitals, but he does not have a lot of SCVs to actually use. Can he continue with this push and at least take down Geralt's 5th base? It doesn't look that way. Even DT's coming in here to try and hold on. And Clem is forced to retreat. His army supply still doesn't look that bad, but it has to reinforce from a pretty long distance away. And he always has to deal with these DTs. Such a nuisance. Not a bad Disruptor shot. One of them will go down, but here come the rest of the Zealots, DTs as well. And I think this is going to be it. Clem has lost the army supply and so much for the medevacs anyways, which are now being targeted down. He's not mining very much, and Geralt is just playing the best PvT of his life. GG. Shit. Geralt's pretty good. My delicate ears. Yeah, alright. An M cannon gets his wings. Yeah. Geralt needs some water. I'm gonna copy him and go grab some. Geralt wants that big Gabe cup. Hells yeah, it does. Clem peaked at 12, washed up by 13. Hey, you're so harsh on the kid. Move on to Ice and Chrome in the bottom left, up 2-1. He is Exxon's Geralt. In the top right, as the Red Terran, he is Liquid Clem. Please just put cam on Kitty for next match. We're not actually allowed to have our cameras in game. Guidelines. Okay, alright. I anticipated much of the same style of games. I just didn't think they'd be so close for so long. I really thought Geralt was going to do the old, yeah, I have some promise, but ultimately I lose. But he is showing his promise and then some. He's actually doing the thing. He's actually winning the video games. He's shooting the balls in the basket. And Clem must be feeling pretty frustrated. I don't know if this is a matchup that happens that often on ladder. Couldn't tell you. But Clem, I mean, he's kind of been... Some people have questioned his TvT. No one questions his TvT, basically. But his TvT, I'd say, is the most questioned. If Geralt's gonna make people start questioning his TvP, he's gonna be like, what the hell, guys? What the hell? You ever get to see your family's cats? Family's cats. I do, actually. I actually saw them this weekend. Does anyone know the score of Hero Marine Soul? Hero Marine was able to win 3-2. Very close series, though. Clem playing it safe on Ice and Chrome, one of our larger maps. Building a bunker, take care of the probe. Still has to worry about the adepts, as Protoss do. You know how it is. Clem knows how it is. It's gonna keep the Reaper at home, anticipating this. As the bunker is done, just doesn't have anything to put in it yet. He's not gonna stop the CC from building, and of course, Clem. Of course, micros the SCV. Now 2 Marines can go in the bunker, and a Hellion is out, so... if he had known Geralt was gonna recall, maybe he could have taken care of the Adepts, but oh well. Soccer should survive. They can't really escape from Hellion Reapers, so, like, you do see Hellion Reaper combos kill a Soccer every now and again, but it really shouldn't. It just has a lot more health to work with. And it's backed up by a buddy. And a second buddy. He's got plenty of buddies. Clem really mixing things up. He's going to go into a Widowmine drop, but also adding on that cloak. Geralt, for one thing you can say about his games, has not had a whole lot of scouting. No emphasis on a faster sentry for Hussein Phoenix. No Robo First for Observer. Admittedly, Stargate openers are also scouting openers, just because you scout when you attack with an Oracle. So there is that. But otherwise, like, there is a world here, and it does seem to be that world, where Geralt goes for a Twilight Council, Blink opener, and then, yeah, doesn't get to scout that a Banshee is on the way. And if he doesn't scout a Banshee is on the way, not only could he take damage to the probes, he could also be distracted for a follow-up push, which I dare say is the most common follow-up to a Banshee play. And what I'm absolutely anticipating here in this game. So 4 probes go down to some very light harassment. Geralt's going to feel a little bad about that, but he eventually cleans things up. Woodamine drop coming up next. Literally just one Woodamine, by the way, guys. As more emphasis on the follow-up here. He actually does get on some barracks production engineering base, so it's not going to be that follow-up. The tank is more so for the safety of the Terran base than it is about pushing. And we'll see if the Banshees can do any extra damage. Single Woodamine. Scouted. Dealt with. At least gets one probe. And Depth's trying to get some decent scouting, is constantly being denied. Oh, give me it back. I think that's all the factory buildings. So it actually doesn't even see the starport. Interesting. This is a very solid setup against Blink Stalkers. That is what it is for. Otherwise, he goes into regular bioproduction, Medivacs, and Woodamines. No push on Ice and Chrome. Geralt was trying to... I mean, he's trying to keep tabs on what Clem could do. And now that his Observer is where it should be, he should feel confident that it's going to be about the bio push, which is going to happen in like a minute. So he's got some time, but during that time he loses 6 probes to the Banshees. Didn't he make a second Banshee? Did he literally only make one Banshee? Oh wow, I thought I just missed the second one. Okay, well. You don't see Cloak into Banshee, just singular Banshee that often, but that's what happened here. And the Banshee is even alive. Huh. Had to double check. I just had to. Alright, well that Banshee did pay for itself. And it is distracting the Stalkers as well. Not that Clem was going to take any damage from them. In fact, they distracted him so well, like Clem maybe even could have gotten his third on location, but I understand the hesitance to do so. Hesitation. This is a good attack. Stim, combat shields +1. He's got Cloak that might interfere. Well, Cloak itself wouldn't interfere, I guess, but the Banshees are going to try and continue pulling the army away from stalling out the push. Geralt is well aware of that, though. It's a very common gimmick for the Terran push, but also his Observer sees it. So he's going to try and get some shield batteries up, but they're a little bit late. I'm sorry, that's a cannon to shield battery. And a little bit late. Charge is not done. It's not even on the way, and this actually looks like a straight-up disaster. Geralt doesn't have a lot, does he? Did he forget charge? This was actually the easiest game by far for Clem. At the end of that, I mean, Geralt has almost 1,000 in the bank. He has enough gateways. I feel like he forgot charge. I'm not sure charge would have been the difference maker, but he also, despite seeing with the Observer the army incoming, he also didn't do a great job of being postured to defend against it. Like, okay. Game 5 it is. He had taken some bad probe losses over the course of the game as well, but I think that was more of him just being... His macro fell apart when things didn't go as anticipated than it was the direct damage done to him. Game number 5. Both semifinals today going to game 5. Pretty sick. In the top right of Pillars of Gold, he is Axon's Geralt. In the bottom left, For Team Liquid, he is Clem. That was one of the more abrupt endings of the series. Just kind of like a, oops. It was all over. I've been paying so much attention to what the Banshee would have done, what Clem was trying to do, that I wasn't really paying attention to what Geralt's macro was looking like. How much of his Chrono boosts are going into what, how many upgrades he was getting, if he was adding on a robotics bay. Like, it just looked like he forgot charge, and that he hadn't yet started to warp in units like he should have. 8 extra zealots are, you know, pretty... That's a lot. That's a lot extra. And they just weren't there. So, like I said, I feel like, yes, of course, the probes going down affected his game, but I do feel like that was one of those games that it was more the indirect things that really affected him, more than the literal losses of workers. He just got thrown off because he was like, oh, okay, this did a little bit more than I thought it would, the Reaper Hellion. Oh, okay, the Widowmine's a little bit annoying, but like, okay, Widowmine drops, right? Oh, wait, a Banshee? Hold on here. Like, okay, I have to deal with this. And then that actually kind of tumbled into an easy victory. Even though Geralt had sights on the plan and eventually did deal with the Banshee. I mean, yeah. Pretty lame ending. Not comparable to the other games that were happening in this series. This probe really shouldn't be alive. Oh, yeah, it should have tried to just sacrifice itself. Oh well. If that was a reactor building, it easily sees what's going on, so... I would say that most Terran openers are gas seconds, though. So him not predicting the Marine is, you know, that's Geralt's fault. Twilight Council versus 111. Similar to last game. Geralt's this time only 1 adept. And then, ooh, okay, so definitely not the same. I mean, last game he had a total of 4 units very early on. I think it was 3 plus the warp gate finish, so we got an adept in there as well. But still, like, we see him not building any more units. No second stalker, no sentry. 3 units is generally what you can fit in before warp gate is done. But then a Twilight Council, and then immediately into a robo. And a decent number of gateways. So I'm kind of feeling like... Oh, okay, never mind. Good thing I didn't say anything. I'm kind of feeling like a charge all in, guys. Ha 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 ha. Nah. If I'm being real, I actually was kind of thinking it might be a Blink Stalker attack. Where you, the 4th gateway would come down a little bit later than the 2. So it's 1, then 3, and then 4. But no, it is actually an all-in. So... That could very well affect what Clem also thinks, though. The same way that I was like, oh, hold on. He also might have seen, like, okay, that's a fast robo. Okay, you're getting Blink, I assume, but hold on. Like, is this anything more devastating? Did he actually see that the probes weren't mining all of the gas? That's my question. Because 2 out of 3 was there before the Reaper came in. I don't know if Clem was paying enough attention, or if Geralt did a good enough job pretending that he was just filling the gases. I don't know. It looks to me like he doesn't think of a charge all in. If you don't see gas, if you don't see 3 out of 3 in both gas geysers, or any gas geysers, honestly, like, if a Protoss has main gases, and they're not completely filled, it's gotta be charged. There's, like, nothing else you would really do. But, that's a really hard thing to scout. That's the last thing you're really gonna be thinking of. Because charge all-ins are old and kind of bad. Like, they're just not very good is another reason they're not done very much. I guess the question is he really going to do an all-in? I would say so. You see, you know, guys out of gas. You see additional gateways being added on. He's going to a total of 6. But he did stop at 6. This is actually not as many as I thought was going to come down here. When I saw 2 more added on, I was like, okay, it's going to go up to 8 gateways. It's going to do a War Prism all-in. It's not quite an all-in. But it is a surprise. Geralt gets on top of the SCVs in the main base, gets on top of the tank. Good mass repair, though. Good quick reaction from the bio. But this was a surprise for Clem. He was prepared against DTs. He was prepared against Blink. He was not anticipating the charge. The Raven does help out as far as the interference matrix. Actually goes for auto turrets. It should focus fire with the Warp Prism. It's going to do that then. Okay, it's exactly what it does, but barely doesn't grab it. Not quite worth going back in for those Zealots, I tell you what. Oh my god. Oh my god, he actually grabs them. But how strong of a start is this when we take a look at everything that has happened? Clem is down 7 workers. Is it that bad? In TVP, not really. With 2 mules coming down, it's actually quite even. Did it stop any upgrades? Kind of, actually. Clem misses his combat shields. I think he built... I think that's actually just the refineries not being mined from, like, literally. So, he doesn't have combat shields as fast as he should. His +1 was also later. The SC vehicles weren't that bad, but I think everything else actually does give Geralt quite a nice opportunity here. So he finishes up Blink. He's going to have faster upgrades. He's going to have Storm. I do feel a lot better for Geralt, even though right now, as we look for the supplies, it looks better for Clem. Just because Clem's follow push isn't as powerful as it usually would be. Having double the armor supply, that looks pretty good. Not having combat shields, Marauder slow, or +1. Okay. So Geralt gets a bit longer to actually saturate his 3rd base to build up his Zealot counts and his Stalker count. One thing that opening gave him, or didn't give him rather, was access to a decent number of Stalkers. There's usually with Twilight Council openers, there's either a decent amount, like maybe 7 or 8, and then there's like, oh my god, that's a lot, like 12 or 14. This is 2. Slowly going up to 6, I believe. That's not a lot to control the push, which is what we usually see, right? When you show a lot of Stalkers, especially, the Terran's like, oh god, stupid Stalkers. Well, this is a little more direct. This is a little more just like, I'm coming across the map and what can you do about it? Auto turrets coming down for harassment. Not a whole lot of dead space on Pillars of Gold. Not for the natural and the main, anyways. Stalkers aren't trying to get on top of it, though. Is that actually? I figured Stalkers from here could shoot it, but I'm not 100% about that. Much more importantly, the 5 probes went down. Geralt's not keeping tabs on the army movement. He did have a unit, like an adept or something, scout it, so he knows it's here. Is he prepared? He moves forward to try and tackle it. And there are the storms. Beautiful storms on top of the heart of Clem's army. The tank siege, they realize, oh shit, you are taking this fight. But they barely got anything done. And Clem, oh, he does take out the High Templars and the Warp Prism. That might even things up. I think Clem just wasn't anticipating such a strong first defense from Geralt. If he had actually thought there was going to be a fight, his tanks are sieged up a little bit faster and his concave is split a little bit better. At the end, Clem still has an army supply lead. Still has the auto turret harassment doing some good damage. And doesn't really have to worry about the counter because he knows he's got the Warp Prism. But he does need to worry about those storms. At this league, professionals can actually dodge storms, concave with storms, not die immediately to storms, even without ghosts. But you definitely want to get to ghosts. The counter that I said was not gonna happen. Well, another Warp Prism was immediately remade, so I think it's hitting faster than I thought it would, as well as faster than Clem thought it would. He is not prepared for this. His Goat Academy only just finished. He just took some severe storms on top of his army. The Marauders end up surviving thanks to the medevac healing, but they are injured. And they get further injured as Clem moves into it, bathes in it. Trying to draw back to the Wood of Mines. He's desperately waiting for those ghosts, those EMPs. Are they going to happen? Are they going to be good enough? One more High Templar is going to go for the storm on top of the medevacs. He tries to pick up, but this is looking quite bad here for Clem. He's lost 18 SCVs. He's down 10 army supply, and he's going to have his production camped. Geralt, immediately following up with the Warp Prism, is going to be able to take the game. GG. Geralt with the upset takes the 3-2 over Clem.